Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Paul, and in this RedGamingTech.com video, let's do a build, shall we? Believe it or not, I haven't actually done a build on the channel, well, at least in front of the camera before. I've always done them kind of behind the scenes and then shown you guys the finished system or the finished results. In fact, most of the time I don't even put the parts in a case if I'm testing them. I just have them strewn about on motherboard boxes and that's about it. But this time, I wanted to really put some effort in and to actually figure out a format of how I want to show builds in the future. So this is something I want feedback on, because I have been sent a 10900K from Intel. It got heavily delayed, being honest with you, because of the whole current situation. It got stuck in the post for weeks, and it wasn't Intel's fault. It's just what's happening with international shipping at the moment. And so rather than just doing a review, which I will do, I also wanted to do like an ultimate 1440p gaming system and some other projects that I've been wanting to test, but I just haven't really done so in the past. So Intel, sent over a 10900K and a 10600K, and several motherboard vendors have also sent over their motherboards, and it happened to coincide with MSI sending over that 1440p monitor, which is 165 Hz. That was totally actually unexpected. They managed to get into the office for the first time in like weeks, and were like, hey, let's send out this screen to Paul. Yeah, I wasn't even expecting the delivery, to be honest with you. So I was kind of wondering why the delivery guy was leaving like a big old box outside my home. So yeah, I figured this will be a fun new thing to start the builds, because I also want to start looking at retro hardware as well. If you don't know, I've been into PCs for a long time, and so I kind of want to have a look at some of the older legacy hardware as well. I know it's probably not going to get as many views as, you know, the new Ampere GPUs when they're released later this year. But I still have a soft spot for the likes of the Pentium 3. I figure it'll be fun for projects, but I want to figure out build format first. So I figure this is a good video to, well, test that out. So we'll do the build. I'll go through a couple of the parts that I've selected, and then of course we'll just kind of finish up. Well, as you can see, the system is finally up and running. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is running in the background, so we'll just test out a couple of games for a few minutes, make sure that the system's stable, and then, yeah, I guess we can kind of wrap things up. Right, so have G-Sync enabled, obviously. We're using this over DisplayPort. And we also have 165 Hertz as well. All that is good at 1440p. And so let's give this a shot. We will launch Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I'm also deciding to do this with MSI Afterburner enabled, just so that we can see how well it all runs. And here we are with Lara Croft. Let's have a quick look, make sure all of the options are the correct ones. Display, highest preset, that be correct. And yep, we're going to leave DLSS and RTX disabled for this and just kind of run around like an idiot for a second. Hopefully you can see on the on-screen display. Normally I'll do this better and kind of shadow play it, but as I said, this was somewhat impromptu, but yeah, it's running really well. 120-ish FPS. This is with the GPU overclocked, but the CPU hitting 5.1 gigahertz. To be honest, the CPU is so free at the moment, you could pretty much have it do, like, run 5 of these at once. You see, we're definitely more GPU bound than we are CPU bound at 1440p. I have to actually replay this game. I got, like, halfway through, and then I was waiting for the RTX patch, and then I just, yeah, waited so long that I pretty much forgot where I was going. But I think that's enough for this area anyway, because, well, yeah, we're getting like 120 frames a second, so it absolutely feels amazing. I'm quite, actually, you know what? I will try one thing. I am kind of curious to see how this does do with RTX. So let's let the curiosity get the best of me. So let's just enable RTX, apply it, yism. And have we got ray trace? Okay, so ray tracing off. We're getting around 130 frames a second. I'm guessing we're being single thread limited. Let's see what happens if we enable ray tracing. We'll go to like high. So around 80 frames a second with RTX enabled and ray tracing with DLSS. I've got to say, this does look pretty damn amazing. Alright, next game. And Gears of War 5, because, well, it was one of the games that downloaded first, to be totally honest. I am, however, using 1440p. Obviously, everything's maxed out. I don't have a minimum frame rate. We've also got ultra quality textures installed as well. I've played this game quite a few times because of various testing. But let's see, decent save point. Let's do this one, Into the Wild. This is a pretty good one because we get a nice flat run, so we can test the frame rate. So let's see if it all runs okay and doesn't crash. So far we're doing good. Shadow of the Tomb Raider was fine. I have run Cinebench a couple of times off camera just to test the CPU as well, and it all feels good to me so far. But, yeah. Alright, let's see. Around 100 frames a second, which is not bad. We are actually in game right now. We can slow down, but this is a pretty nice area just to kind of test the... This is actually normally where I do, like, my manual runs on Gears 5, because it's very easy to get nice, consistent results. You know, you don't have to worry about, like, taking longer to kill an enemy or whatever else. It's just a nice, easy path to follow. Alright, I guess... we can get to just past this area, which is normally where I leave the benchmark anyway. So we're probably averaging the low hundreds, like 101, 105, something like that as the average. That's a pure guess. Once again, normally I actually overclock the RTX 2080 Ti for benchmarking purposes, but we're not really benchmarking here. We're just seeing if it all runs okay. So yeah, I'm pretty darn happy with this, I must say. System looks good, system looks stable, and can't really ask for much more at this point. Given I've just built it and we have still not done much tweaking, I'm pretty darn happy. I can't remember if there's any fighting around here. It's been a long time since I've actually gotten past the. I'm getting off the what do they call it, sled or whatever it's called, skiff. I think it's called skiff. It's been a long time since I've gotten past the skiff section. Either way, despite the massive draw distances and everything else, game's running fine, no crashes, so I'm happy. I think this is a good place to stop the gears testing at the least. The good news is the system is running absolutely fine. I've overclocked all of the cores to 5.1 gigahertz, which I think at the moment is where I'm going to leave things. I'm just going to mess around with the system a little bit, as obviously I'm testing it for review purposes as well. So I'm just trying to figure out what I can wrangle out of the system, monitor temperatures, which is outside of this video, but I will look into the temperatures and kind of give you a report back on what I find in terms of voltages, performance and so on in a video which will be upcoming soon. I also wanted to touch on why I chose a couple of the components that I've opted to plonk into this system. The RTX 2080 Ti is a no-brainer, obviously. It is the highest performance card that I've got access to, and I want to thank you very much, that is of course as viewers, for actually contributing on Patreon, which has allowed us to purchase the RTX 2080 Ti. I've also gone with 3000 megahertz Crucial Ballistics memory, which I've overclocked to 3200 megahertz. Now, I may swap this out in the future and plonk in like 32 gigabytes of faster memory, but at the moment I'm doing some comparisons against the 9900K, and the plan is anyway to use similar memory configurations to what I had in the 9900K test build. So obviously, I want the same memory configuration, at least for now, and I can start experimenting in the future and kind of swapping parts in and out. I just want to go with something that's safe and I know is just going to be easy and simple to test in the short term. And yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with the system overall. I do have better coolers as well. The Deepcool 240mm that I'm using is not the best performance cooler. For example, I've even got a 280 from them, and I've actually been asked by Deepcool and a couple other companies if I want to look at even larger radiators, and perhaps in the future too, I'll swap to a larger case. I do quite like this case, but if I do end up going with a larger radiator, which I probably will in the longer term build, yeah, that's probably something that I will do, to be honest. But I wanted to go with a smaller case and a smaller radiator at the start, primarily just to test temperatures. It's kind of more of a worst case scenario. Obviously, if I have like an absolutely huge radiator and a massive case with tons of airflow, it does mean that I'm giving the thermals even better option, but I kind of wanted to test this in a smaller build. The case actually performs pretty well. I've done a little bit of temperature testing off camera, and so far the CPU temperatures, even when running, let's say, a Cinebench, do seem pretty decent, although I don't want to say what they are so far because I've not had time to tweak voltages and whatever else, so I don't know how stable the system is at those temperatures, so it would be unfair for me to kind of blurt them out, but the temperature actually even slightly better than the 9900K that we have, which was clocked to 5 gigahertz. And as I said, most of these tests have been done with 5.1. So that's a pretty good sign. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. As I said, it was a bit an unplanned one. I think the format will be tweaked a little bit as we continue, and I do realize that not everyone's interested in high performance rigs. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, which feels oh so long ago at this point, I will be also testing out like some retro hardware and the 10600K, but I very much also want to look at the budget focused systems too, especially since there's some really good budget CPUs out there right now. So yeah, consider this like the first step. But anyway, thank you very much for watching the video if you made it all the way through. And of course, also, thank you very much for all of the support, the likes, the comments. Subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I'll see you soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.